So welcome back if this isn't your first time watching one of these videos. If it is, then welcome. I am going to be breaking down my gold trade that I did where I made $900 during NFP on Friday last week, and then I'm going to go ahead and give you guys my intake on gold for the next setup that I'm waiting for. So it's pretty much going to be a whole chart breakdown towards the end of the video, so stay tuned. But I really think this is gonna be a great chart breakdown that I'm gonna give to you guys because I haven't done one of these since I've put up my making $3,000 in a day on US 30 video. So let's share the screen. We're gonna jump right into it. Let's see. Give me one sec. Gonna share screen. So let's talk about gold. Let's talk about how I analyze gold from start to finish and how I was able to catch this move during NFP on Friday last week. So I did make $900 and I also left $3,000 on the table, but we'll talk about that. So we're gonna just jump right into it, man. This is how I go ahead and trade gold. This is one of the main pairs that I do trade. So I love it. If it if you're a beginner trader, then I definitely don't recommend starting off trading gold. Stick to currencies, get good at those, and then work your way onto gold and then indices if you like. But let's look at gold. When I look at gold, I start off on a higher time for on a very high time frame, which is usually the monthly or the weekly. And in this case, I start off on the weekly. And what I do basically on a weekly time frame is that I'm just looking for key levels where price has respected and made some strong support and resistance. So this is this is all I'm looking for on a weekly time frame. Other than that, it's like I'm not really spending too much time on it. I only need like 3 or 4 zones because obviously it's gonna take some time for price to get to you know from one zone to another. You don't want to make them too close, but these are my main key zones that I did have. The way that I pretty much look at the market is that on a weekly time frame is that I look for again these strong levels of support and resistance where price had just came and respected, rejected, pushed away from, as you can see what I'm circling here, where price was just we got support, resistance. Here we got some little bit of consolidation, resistance. We got a bunch of rejection over here. So resistance and then support. And yeah. So that's pretty much what I do on the weekly time frame, right? So as I'm looking at the chart, I pretty much did that and then I went down to a daily time frame. On a daily time frame, that's where I start paying attention to market structure because on a daily is like where you want to get an understanding of if the market is retracing or if it's already on its way to um to either like a new zone or making new higher highs or lower lows. So in this case, when I was looking at gold, I was seeing that from this information starting off, right over here, I saw we had an aggressive push to the upside, right? We already had an aggressive push to the upside, and when price when price had broken above the resistance of that after that aggressive push, it started making some healthy, it started making some very healthy higher lows and not strong higher highs, but the higher lows were definitely still indicating that it was a healthy trend. So when the market is moving accordingly with higher highs and higher lows, pretty much what it's doing is indicating that it's a healthy trend and there's a possible chance that it's gonna just continue to push aggressively to the upside when it's making higher highs and higher lows, versus if a market it just shoots straight up, there's sometimes causes like an imbalance in the market, so it's going to have to come back down and start creating like new structure. And uh yeah, it's going to have to start like creating new structure again to, find a balance in the market. Like pretty much, for example, right over here, price didn't break above resistance to continue on the way up. So soon as it shot aggressively to the upside, it came back down, making like, new lower lows, lower highs. And then you saw, a bunch of structure right over here. So in this case, it did break above resistance. It just shows the market's going to do what the market's going to do. So after it broke through that resistance, and after I saw, a bunch of higher lows and higher highs being created, I went ahead and I went ahead and I had this line over here, just paying attention to if the market was going to go ahead and break through that level of resistance. So by Friday, it had already pushed to the upside. So once it did that, I just scaled in on the H4 time frame. when I was uh when I was looking at it from an H4 time frame, I did notice that price had broken through um a level of demand. We had a reaccumulation um zone right over here where market had did a little bit of consolidation, and then it had pushed up. But when it did break through that level of demand, my only thought process was, if it does if it does create a new lower low underneath this support, then I would go ahead and continue to ride that market down. But in this case, it the first thing that I noticed was on this 4 hour, I noticed that there was a very strong wick, right? So this wick was has been rejected in the past right over here, and it's also that same level of resistance. So price again, it's not gonna react off of like a certain price point. It likes to react off of certain zones. So this zone was already the previous resistance, and what was once resistance is always going to become, not always, but in most cases is going to respect it and become support. So I noticed that it did respect this zone, right? So that's pretty much all I needed for me to go ahead and say, you know what, let me just scale in and see what's going on a smaller time frame. So when price was over here, I was actually on the M30. I was actually on the M30 time frame, right? So when I'm looking at the M30 time frame, um all I'm doing is looking for market structure to break for market structure to break. So in this case, since we're on an uptrend, I was looking for supply levels to be broken. And when I did notice the last supply level right over here, I was pretty confident in taking this buy, because as soon as supply was broken, I'm like, all right, we have a new level of demand that has to be respected in order for this to be um a quality trade setup. So for me, when I noticed this break, it was around this time. It was already, well, I went to sleep like around 1 o'clock, so price was already over here. It had already broken through that level of resistance, right? So when it came to, I'm usually up by like 6:30. So when price had came around over here, when I had woken up, I saw it was already retesting this level that was once resistance. So again, the same thing that is doing on a higher time frame is doing again on the lower time frame, right? And then I noticed again another minor structure being broken, and then I started noticing these wicks that were just indicating that there was buyers in the market. because it kept just pushing it kept pushing and creating these wicks from buyers that were just it was just in the market. They were already in the market, getting ready to pretty much take off, as you can see. But when I saw that, I'm like, the only way that I would go ahead um and get out of this trade is if it does break this overall trend that it was just created, which it was this higher low. So my my buy entry, I'm gonna give it to you guys right now. Actually, my entry was entry was 1837.61. Take profit was 1847.93. And then my stop loss was right underneath it. 33.83. It was right underneath it, so I was pretty confident. I was pretty confident because by the time I was already getting in this was already this was already pushing up. It was already pushing up around here. So again, if it would have hit my stop loss, it would have hit it. But it was Friday, and um, I was just being very cautious, knowing that anything can happen during NFP. But the market did ended up shooting up. I didn't hit. Oh yeah, yeah. So yeah, the market just shot straight up during NFP when the news came out. And yeah, if I would have held, this could have potentially been a $4,000 trade. But I did manage to only catch 900. And honestly, how do I feel about leaving $3,000 on the table? Truthfully, I don't care, because I spent many years trying to chase the market and catch every single pip on the way up and on the way down um on every single trend. And honestly, it never worked out for me, right? It just created a bad habit. It created a bunch of greed within me. And I didn't do very well for a long time because I was just very greedy and just wanted to make a lot of money, and make as much money as I possibly can. But knowing that, knowing and learning to accept that you're gonna leave money on the table, that can just pretty much take some weight off your shoulders and just say, you can learn to appreciate what you actually do make, versus focusing on what you don't make. So yeah, I still was able to make money. And even though I didn't catch the entire move, there's always going to be another trade set up around the corner. So it's not the last trade that I'm ever taking. And if you're doing this and you're trading, or you're starting off, um if you already have the 10-year mindset, the 20-year mindset, that this is something that you're going to do in the long run, then learning to accept it earlier, and learning to accept it faster, that you're not going to catch every single move, then that would eliminate the whole trying to make fast money, trying to make money right away. Like that can eliminate so much for the new trader to come in with that mindset, versus somebody like me that was just I was very aggressive when it came to trading. I would over leverage and all that stuff. And again, I just I wanted to just make money. So it's cool. It's cool that all this happened, but honestly, like I said, it is what it is. I did leave money on the table, and we're just getting ready for the next trade. So now it's looking at gold. Now looking at gold and seeing where it's at, we did push to the upside, breaking through resistance, and still maintaining this proper structure, creating new demand, right? But as you can see, the market is going sideways. The market is going sideways, and I'm gonna just highlight that. the market is going sideways. So when it's doing this, it's just gonna do this until some major news comes out and pushes the market in a direction that it's already gonna go in. So we got we got on Thursday, we got on Thursday, um the CPI news is going to come out at 8:30. So that's pretty much what everybody, and when I mean everybody, I mean like the big investors, um that's what they're waiting for, that data to come out in order to see if it's worth buying gold or not. um when I think about what's happening right now with gold and the dollar, I did open up the well, if you go to the folder and then you look at the latest release, I did open up and just started reading, just started reading what was being said in this article right here that was that's from the US Bureau of Labor Statistics. And you can see that, I mean, if you're reading it, the consumer price index for all urban consumers rose 0.1% in November on a seasonally adjusted basis after increasing 0.4% in October. The U.S. today, over the last 12 months, the all item index increased 7.1% before seasonal adjustments. So it was right before it was right before the holidays. Everything had increased in price. So basically, what that means is that it seems like inflation is still going up, and the Federal Reserve made it clear that if they had to raise interest rates to if they had to raise interest rates slowly, they were going to do it in order to prevent the market from completely crashing um and to control inflation. So this right here just gives me indication that inflation is going up, and if it is going up, it means that the dollar is getting weaker. So if the dollar is getting weaker, we can potentially have a breakout to the upside. And what I'll just wait for is that retest to continue that move to the upside. But if for whatever reason the market does break out of this zone and start pushing to the downside, I'll just do the same on the opposite side and just wait for a retest of that level, and then continue the move on the way down. But I would be cautious about taking any sells because we're still on an overall uptrend. And looking at it from this daily time frame, um, I would be more comfortable with just looking and waiting for buys until this level right here. Let me go ahead and just change this color. I would be more comfortable taking sells underneath this level uh of demand that's been created. That's just me personally. So there could be, the market can, again, it can push to the downside, it can retest, but it can also still respect the overall uptrend and then continue its way to the upside. Yeah, on its way to the upside. So taking any sells is very risky, especially with the way that the market is going, and the way that the dollar is going overall. So I'm aware of everything. The best thing you can do is just sit and wait to see. Today is today's Tuesday the 10th, so I would just wait until after Thursday to start trading again. If honestly, if you can wait till next week, then yeah, just wait. Excuse me. Then just wait till next week and just let the market do what it's gonna do. Because again, it's always gonna the next trade setup is around the corner. So the only way I'll feel confident to taking this, honestly, is really to catch more buys to the upside because of the overall trend on the higher time frame. So the trend is your friend. Follow it. If it does break through it below, I'm just being very cautious. If it respects this, what was once resistance, and create a support out of it, and then start pushing on its way up. So that is my gold trade setup that I took during NFP on Friday, and then that is my gold analysis for what's happening right now in the market. So I hope it was valuable for you guys. If you found any value, or if you know catched anything that can that probably helped you out in any way, drop a comment, let me know. I am planning on making a lot more of these videos. I do have a 20% off the Fortunes Forex Guide if you are a person that wants to get into trading and wants to understand not the market, but if you want to understand what to expect when it comes to trading. It's I'll leave the code for you guys down below in the description. So I appreciate you guys tuning in. Like, comment, subscribe, share, do all that stuff for me and help me out with this with YouTube, because again, this is what I'm doing because I want to help and add my style of trading to the community. So thank you guys once again. I'll see you guys on the next one.